Catch girl talks every day. Follow socials, here's the way.
GURLTAUX, every platform come to play. Catch our vibe, don't delay.
Facebook, YouTube streams, scrolling through your daily memes. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Keeping it real, it's what we do. So tune in now and join our crew. Lights moving through the screen, click subscribe, don't be me. Upbeat chatter, it's our routine. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. Update stories, laugh and cry. It's Girl Talk, so don't question why. It's the show that you'll adore. Come back daily to get some more. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX is who we are. Come hang with us on your tablet, phone, or screen. Anywhere Girl Talks can be seen. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about. GURLTAUX, log in now, watch our show. Likes and comments, let them flow. Every day we're on our way. Girl Talk Show is here to stay. Girl Talk Show, don't miss out. Join the fun, see what Girl Talks is all about.
Walking down this road tonight, talking about the things we fight. Addiction knocking at my door. E&T wants so much more. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, together we'll move along. Searching for a brighter day, holding tight along the way. Sobriety's a steep climb, D&T winning every time. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Oh yeah, we walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Whoa, yeah. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along. Whoa, yeah. We walk the walk and talk the talk, right here on Girl Talk, on the path where we belong. Standing strong through the storm, D&T bringing all of you along.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
good.
You having a good
Yes.
day?
I had a pretty good day today.
Well,
Yeah.
that's good. I did too. I was pretty busy, but that's no different than
Right,
every
like,
other day.
yeah. I didn't fall down and break anything.
Yeah,
And,
there is that.
and
Like
that's a plus.
that's always a plus if you don't like hurt yourself or
Exactly.
damage anything. Like I'm constantly damaging things. And apparently my camera wants to have the menu on for no apparent reason. And I try to do this beforehand, but sometimes I forget and it like changes. And if I don't change it to manual, it'll just zoom in and out the whole time. So
Oh.
anyway, welcome to our show. How are you all doing tonight? We hope you're doing well, and thank you for being here. So tonight we are discussing we're talking about
Hello.
we are talking about DEI and good evening, Squirrel. Thank you for being here. We are discussing DEI and I was a little we had a little skit the other night and I think we might start with the little skit tonight too, just for fun of it. But the reason for it is not to make fun of, but to make fun of. Not not to make fun of people, but to make fun of the fact that DEI culture itself is kind of ridiculous and we don't need to have DEI in anything, in my opinion, but we certainly don't need to have it in certain realms. But I'll also defend it too, not defend DEI, but women in certain positions, law enforcement, paramedics, fire. I have heard a few conservative citizen journalists and journalists that talk about how we shouldn't be in it at all, because of our stature, because of our abilities, because we are weaker than men. And I would argue that that's not. There are cases where there are tougher women. When I was in law enforcement and when I was a medic, I was pretty hardcore. I was a pretty hard girl. That's why I'm so broken now. But you find a man that's done the same stuff as I've done, and he'll say the same thing. Because I pushed myself to be at the level of the men I worked with. I think that's the difference. Is I didn't like, for example, this is a true story, no joke. I was at the fire station, and we got a new female firefighter in. She'd just been hired and just supposedly finished the academy. Whether I buy that she went through the academy and finished it, I don't know. If the academy was under somebody's desk, she probably did finish. But I'm gonna say I don't think she went to an academy and finished shit. But we knew she was coming. We had the pre-warning that she was coming. And she showed up and, we have our bunks. We know where we're staying and stuff like that. And she comes in with her bag and she's taken to her bunk where she's going to be. And I'm one of the few people there that's showing her where you put your bunker gear, or where you put your boots. Cause we're supposed to jump out of bed and put our boots on it and pull up your bunker gear. And, the most important thing for her is to know where the bathroom was. Okay. And wanted to know where she could put her makeup and her curling iron and her hair products and her makeup products and all that stuff. I'm like, well, we all share this bathroom. There's no room for all that shit. You want it, keep it in your locker. I'm like, you also don't have time for that shit. Like, I mean, we would sit, we had a we had
funny.
lounge recliners. We didn't have like a couch or anything. We just had a bunch of recliners, lounge chairs, so that we could watch TV or whatever we were doing. Half of us slept in those chairs, because it was inevitable that you get there, and as soon as you think you have time to rest and relaxation, the alarm was going to go off and you had to go.
Yeah.
That's if it was nighttime sleeping time. If it was daytime, the alarm didn't go
No,
off.
never.
Because everybody waits till 2 a.m. to call for an emergency. We have a name
That's
for
so
those people.
funny.
When I was in the fire department, I kind of started it. When you call on the radio. Now, you've done this too, right? So I'm just letting the people out there know she's also done this. So we're not talking with something that Kimberly is not familiar with.
Yeah.
And
I was a paramedic in Los Angeles, so yeah.
we had a call that came in, and it pissed me off because the guy was kind of a snooty guy, whatever, and he had sprained his ankle playing racquetball earlier in the day, like at 9 or 10 in the morning, but he called at like 2 o'clock in the morning. So, he might have had a head injury, right? So he needs to be completely backboarded and, the whole thing. And so after so many times of having some ridiculous calls, the 14-year-old drunk at the party where she shouldn't have been in the first place, and this was the height of Jerry Springer show.
Oh, okay.
So how when you call in, it's like, I got a 35-year-old female, and then you say what her ailments are and vitals or any of that, right? Whatever you're going to throw in there. And I just started saying JSP. 14-year-old JSP presents with
Okay.
And then I'd get to the hospital and they're like, I got everything else, but I wrote this down. What's JSP? I'm like, Jerry Springer people.
Oh.
So it went around all the fire departments and all the police departments in Phoenix area. JSP was referring to Jerry Springer people. And then they knew ahead of time that they didn't have a room available and they were going to stay on the gurney for a little while out in the hall. Like, I know it's not necessarily right, but it was done. There was punishments for waiting until 2 a.m. to call people.
Sure.
There absolutely was.
Sure, because you're taking away
come in for a real emergency,
yeah.
And I'm sure there's some woke person out there. Oh, that's horrible. How could you do that? That's, whatever. Fuck off. Is this too early to say that in my show? But we did. And it was kind of irritating, these people. Anyway, this girl comes in and we get a call. I don't remember what time it was. But prior to the call coming in, we were all sitting in the living room area in our lounge chairs. And I don't remember her name, but let's give her a name. Bubbles. Bubbles was sitting in the middle of the floor, cross-legged, painting her toenails in her baby doll pajamas.
Really?
I kid you not. Like, all the dudes there were like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Now, she was skinny. She was kind of hot. And within a week, she had been passed around the entire fire department, or our station house anyway. Everyone had slept with her except for me. Anyway,
man.
Quite often we'd get a call, and I kid you not, we ended up quite often waiting for her because she was tidying up her hair or fixing her makeup or doing something.
No
and
way.
The guys were so afraid to leave her because they would get fired for harassment. They were terrified that they were going to get nailed for harassment if they left her ass. So one of the times I was trained to drive on one of the engines. So I said, put my name up there today. And he's like, okay, I'll put your name up. And I mean, I had just gone through training, so like I wasn't very good. I'm not gonna lie. I knocked a few people off the back of the rig, forgetting about the the air brakes or whatever. I don't know. Oops. You have to push that button? What? Anyway, our alarm went off and we took off, and I took off. I left her ass there at the station, and I kid you not, the guys weren't wrong. She immediately filed an EEO complaint about sexual harassment and how she was left behind because she was a woman, and they left her on purpose. And everyone got called into the chief's office, and we all had to have a little talk about, and he demanded, I want to know who was driving. And I was like,
These were
driving. Me, motherfucker. I was the one driving. So yeah, I left her back. And he's like, well, why would you do that to one of your own? I said, the rest of them are one of my own. I said, I don't know her.
Right.
I said, but I do know she has sat around in a baby doll pajamas doing her nails, which is totally and I mean like a baby doll with the lacy lace and the fluff on the butt in the old fashioned
What?
jammy. Oh yeah. And I'm like, I know she sits around in clothes like that. I know that she's probably slept with everyone on the station. I know that, she has to go do her hair and her makeup. If we're called out of bed, she has to stop and fix her hair and makeup before she gets in her bunker gear. Or if she gets in her bunker gear, then she fixes her hair and makeup. And he's like, she does what? And I was like, yeah. And he goes, are you willing to write all this down in a statement? I said, yeah, I will. I said, I've already done that. And he's like, you have? I said, haven't you read any of the memos I've been submitting? I'd been submitting it since she got there.
Oh, wow.
They weren't going to his office because some lieutenant was throwing them all away because they thought I was doing it out of jealousy because she was skinnier and hotter than me.
Oh my God.
It was a hate thing because I hated her because she was so much hotter than I was. No, it was because she wasn't capable of doing the job. And, those guys can get fire bunnies anywhere they want. We don't need one in the station house.
No shit.
Like at all. So,
Well, and whoever hired somebody named Bubbles.
well, that wasn't her real name, but I think it was like Tammy or something. I don't remember, but I'm just calling her Bubbles. Same thing.
Might as well have
Becky!
been. Yeah.
It was Becky.
Becky.
Probably was. I don't know.
Mandy. It was
Yeah.
Mandy.
My name is Brandy. Yo, we're a bit judgy, but that's okay.
No.
But I mean, that really is a situation that happened. And every one of the guys on our station were so scared of her. And what I mean by that, they weren't scared of her stature. They
Right.
weren't scared she was going to beat them up. They were all scared that she could take their jobs, that they could destroy what they had already built. And of course, not only me, but everyone was very confused as to how she possibly might have passed the police academy. I mean, the fire academy. Like, how did that happen? Little of this is how that happened. That's my opinion anyway.
Don't stain your shirt.
She knows what a
Don't
pearl
stain
necklace
your
is.
butt gear.
But
Oh my God.
it's true, So
That's wild. I mean, I'm sitting here thinking, what kind of female, like that's that's a tough girl
job,
kind of job,
yeah.
So like,
It should be.
where did her tough girl go between like training a cat? Like,
Oh no,
I mean,
I
when
don't
she
think
was
she
out
ever,
on calls, did she know what to do?
No, she was
Like
incompetent.
at all?
No, she was incompetent as all hell. And when we would be at a call, like she couldn't get the hoses out because they were too heavy. I kid you not. Like as soon as she
way.
was starting to like pull hoses, somebody else would jump in because she would struggle with it. So I'm guaranteeing there was a certain way that she made it through.
Yeah. I wasn't there, but I might place some money on that bet.
She did not. Yeah, you're gonna put some money on that.
I'm just saying, because look how little I am, and I could drag a hose.
Yeah, and she wasn't.
And I used to be bigger and stronger, so that's wild.
Now she was small, but she had. I mean, you're small now.
Mm-hmm.
But and you lift dogs and stuff like that, but I mean her arms, she looked like olive oil. I mean, with a little bit of a body.
Gotcha.
She had she had big boobs.
Okay.
And she had a nice body. I'm not gonna lie. She had a nice body. I mean, I was right there looking at her just like the guys. I'm like, damn. And I don't even swing that way, but I was like, damn, baby got back, baby got front. Baby's in somebody else's bed right now. Yeah, I kid you not, there was quite a few times where somebody would say, "Where is so and so?" And I'd be like, I don't know, she was just sitting here a little while ago. Where'd she go? And then you look around the room and John's gone. She's gone. And the next thing you hear is a little noises coming from and the worst part, we all knew it though. Like everybody knew what was going on, and it didn't last very long. And just to clarify, there was guys there. Now they all didn't sleep with her. I want to be very clear. They all did not sleep with her. Some of them were extremely offended. But those were the absolute true tried fighters.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I started to say firemen because we're not allowed to say that anymore. God forbid you call yourself a fireman.
Is that how it came out? You caught yourself?
Yeah.
Fire. Don't say it.
I got to have electrical shock in this chair, so I don't say inappropriate words. When it says when I say whore, when I say fireman, when I say pregnant lady, because apparently none of that's true.
Oh my gosh.
When you have a cat, I want to ask you a livestock question.
Okay.
When you have a cow that has a calf inside of it, what's it called?
A calf.
No, I mean while it's inside, what is she?
Oh, pregnant.
Just checking. I mean, even the cows, we call them pregnant.
Yeah. Everything that has another living thing inside of it.
A horse? What do you call the horse when it has a
pregnant? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm just.
Mammals are always.
I mean,
females.
A whale
always
is. I'm pretty sure they're pregnant, right?
Yeah.
Anything that actually gives birth is considered pregnant.
Yes.
Like eggs are inseminated.
Right. But they're a different species, so they
and all avians sit on their eggs, correct? Or is that not correct?
Let me think.
Are there any that birth their babies?
Oh, I see what you're saying. I'm like, well, I don't know if they all sit. I mean, maybe.
Well, whether they sit or not,
but
right.
No,
there are some that don't.
Right. That's why I was like, oh God, this is a really tough question. I didn't study today.
What the hell's wrong with you?
Sorry, don't do this.
Why didn't you study avian rules and
nesting habits of all avians? Fuck. You talk about blindside, wow. You're gonna keep me on my toes. No, there's no way they can do a live birth of a baby. Just no. They lay eggs live. They live lay. But the incubation
they
time.
Squat and push out the eggs.
Yeah.
And then
the incubation time, and even that, for a natural hatch, that mom's sitting on those eggs. The mom, not the impregnated, or what are they called?
Inseminated
Inseminated.
species.
The
Then you just call it inseminated species. 'Cause we don't want to
species.
call a hen because she might be a rooster.
Well, you go milk a fucking bull and see how that works out for you. I mean, like, for real. Walk up to a bull, Billy, and be like, "Oh, aren't you so pretty?" Yeah.
I've heard that saying quite a few times. You know, you want to talk about, you know, I mean, when I read people like this one woman who was holding up her little dog, it reminded me of the same woman who, not the same woman, but another woman who was holding up her 14-month-old saying she's trans.
Mhm.
This one was holding up her dog. They're trans.
Mhm.
No, the fuck they're not.
No.
And if you think because your dog humps the same sex that that means they're trans, no, that's called dominance. They're showing that they are the alpha.
Mhm.
They're
Yeah,
not
like-
saying, I want to wear a skirt
Yeah.
or I want to wear pants. No.
Like never. Like never. Like that will never happen. Like there's that is definitely a mental illness if
Well,
you think that
and
an
then-
animal
and
can
then-
make decisions like that.
Right. Or a 14-month-old child.
Or yeah.
Like you have the mental
But,
illness at that point.
I mean, what, like, there's no way. And what I always say is, how can you put all your faith in somebody who can't even decide if they want their peanut butter and jelly sandwiches cut in triangles or squares
Right.
without having a meltdown?
Right.
But they're sure that they're really a girl and not a boy. Like,
Mm.
are you kidding? How? You know, and my other thing I always say too is there's no way that a person can have biological feelings experientially of both sexes to be able to make a determination that they are in fact the wrong sex or the
Right.
wrong gender. Like that's an impossibility. It's an
not gonna happen.
impossibility.
Yeah, it's
So
not
it's
gonna
all
happen.
up here. It's all imagination. It's all in your mind. You know, and I want to say, like, I don't think that that's 100% absolute. There's a few people that have like fully transitioned and a long time ago
Right.
and have never regretted the decision and really feel like they made the right choice for themselves, but they did it as informed consenting adults
Right.
after lots of therapy.
Well,
and
and
because there used to be a time where like you couldn't just go bebopping into your doc's office and be like,
can you
you
cut
know,
this wang off?
I mean, like, it kind of gets in the way sometimes. And
I don't
you
like
know,
it.
because I remember there was a time when I had asked my my OBGYN if and not, I mean, I think it was more of a generalized question, but like, can women have a mastectomy as a preventative position or procedure against breast cancer? And at that time, now this was in the 90s, but
Right.
at that time, I was told absolutely not. There's no way that you can decide to remove healthy, undiseased body parts.
Right.
And I was like, but they're mine, and I might not want them if they're going to get all real world cancer.
Well,
And it was like, no, you can't do that. Now it's like, oh, we got a special if you bring a friend.
Yeah,
We'll remove your wee wee and her tatas for a twofer.
And no, you cannot give them to your buddy.
No, but
but-
it's, I mean, it's like it was headed that way of, you know, it's, and like my take for real on it is, and Logan and I were talking about this earlier today, is, and this has all been due to just the inundation of all these different lettered agencies and movements and clubs and
Absolutely.
everything else, because just a little over 30 years ago, and like we literally were like, this is how it was when we were growing up, but literally everybody now consumes news almost the entire time that they're awake, unless they're focusing on work. It's all news being consumed through a
Right.
screen. Back in our day, news came on at 5, 5:30, and 6. Those were for your local broadcast. Then from the 6:30 to 7, there was the world news with Tom Brokaw.
Right.
And
Right.
so if you wanted to sit and watch the rest of that, or watch that to get some world news, that's what you did. But then when the TV went off, like politics were something that were never ever discussed.
And they weren't discussed 24/7.
No.
Like, we're inundated with it. And I was listening to the podcast from Joe Rogan with Tucker Carlson, and I have to agree with him. He's like, when people say mainstream media now, he's like, we are the mainstream media, because mainstream means where the majority of people get their news.
Yes. Yes.
Corporate media
Yes.
is different than mainstream. Mainstream is actually what all of the citizen journalists, I wouldn't call us mainstream yet. We don't have enough followers. We don't have enough viewers yet to be mainstream. We're not watched every day by everyone.
Right.
You know, we don't go on and go, well, we've got 3,000 people watching. Great. No, we don't have that kind of viewership yet. We plan to. We're going to try to. But the reality is, that is true. Mainstream media is now citizen journalists, people who have started their own shows, their own podcasts. There's a reason why Gavin Newsom seems to think that it would be beneficial for him to have his own podcast, because without it, no one is going to listen to this douchebag.
Did you happen to catch any of him and Charlie Kirk?
I did not. I want to go back and did you? I'm taking that as a yes.
Well, you got to think about it, Tori. Like, Charlie Kirk is like, what did that? Oh, somebody described him as like, Officer Tatum. He said he was a, not a prophet, but I can't remember the word he used to describe him, but like, he's got all the knowledge in his noggin.
Oh, he's like a walking, he's like a walking encyclopedia.
Yes. So Gavin Newsom decided to invite that dude onto his show to go up against him. Like, he should have literally invited like some newbie that like doesn't know anything about anything.
Yeah, because that in itself was like the dumbest thing that he could have done, because I would not go on Charlie Kirk and we're on the same side. I'd be kind of afraid of him.
No doubt.
Because like the shit he knows versus the shit I know, I would be absolutely beside myself. I would not know. Yeah, I can't even explain that. I would never in a million years think to go and be on Charlie Kirk's show, because he is so much smarter and better than I am,
and accurate, like so accurate about everything.
You can't bust his stuff up.
You can't stump him. You can't like say, oh, you're not right about that. Like, he's very accurate and extremely trustworthy in what he says, because everything that he says can literally be validated and backed up. So I just thought that was such a interesting choice of people to go up against. Like, Gavin Newsom has some issues for sure. That guy is really scary and dangerous.
He really is.
Like, he's a classic narcissistic psychopath.
I worry about, well, I've already worried about enough times, like where we're going with California. Like, I mean, we've already kind of lost California to a degree, but like where, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to actually pull this video up that I'm going to play for us.
Oh, okay. Okay.
That's why I'm doodling here. I'm not actually ignoring you.
I didn't know if there was like technical issues happening
Well,
or what, because I wasn't
The
looking.
technical issue
but-
is that I can't get it to pull over here. So I'm going to see if I can pull it over
interesting.
here. So let's see if I can find it. It's supposed to be in my videos. Oh, there we go. That's where it's at. See, I don't know sometimes where it puts things.
Mm,
Because
Oh,
it needs
there,
to
okay.
show them at another place here.
Gotcha.
So
Okay. I see.
anyway, we're gonna play
Yay.
this really quick and see how this works out for us as far as loading it up and making sure that it actually works for once. We'll see. Let's see if we can play this one. All right. See, I can't hear anything. I don't know if you hear anything, but I can't hear anything. And it's
No.
not playing anything.
Okay, there it goes.
I don't know if you hear
No.
anything, but I can't hear it. No, I'm not
I
hearing
can
her.
hear you, but not.
It's not playing anything. Yep, I'm not hearing her, and I don't know. Oh, it's because I think I have the volume off on that one. Okay, there. Now we should be able to hear it. We're just going to play the beginning of this real quick, and okay, I'm not sure what happened there. I'm learning, people. Like I said, I've said it a couple of times. It is much easier the way that it used to be, and I just have to get okay. I get what you're. It's yelling at me. Okay, so let's see if this.
All right, guys, we've been talking a lot about the Los Angeles fires on this channel, and there is so much going on, so many stories entangled in the much larger story. Of course, a lot of devastation and loss as people are watching their entire livelihoods being burned down, but also a lot of stupidity, bureaucracy, and failure when it comes to leadership here in this city. And of course, if we're going to talk about these fires, we have to talk about LAFD. Now, I'm going to show you a video that I think is going to blow your mind, and if it doesn't, I don't know what will. This is of an assistant chief. Her name is Christine Larson of LAFD, and she's talking about emphasizing the fact that she's a woman fire chief and also how she would respond if she could not pull a man out of a fire. We're going to get into the other issues that the city is experiencing. Somebody who's needing to call the fire department to save his life, to save his house? Of course not. But this is what happens. Being services like putting out fires. Never in my life have I thought, I hope that there is a I'm going to show you a video that I think is going to blow your mind. And if it doesn't, I don't know what will. This is of an assistant chief. Her name is Christine Larson of LAFD. And she's talking about emphasizing the fact that she's a woman fire chief and also how she would respond if she could not pull a man out of a fire. We're going to get into the other issues that the city is experiencing with this entire disaster that is taking place here. But first, you have got to see this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough?
Okay, so I'm going to pause it there real quick because we do have to pause every now and then and bring it back. I said it yesterday and I stood up. No, I do not want to see somebody who looks like me. I absolutely do not want to see somebody who looks like me. Now, if I'm, fit and 6'5" and have muscles and can carry you under one arm and me under the other, yeah, I want that person.
Right.
And to be frankly honest with you, I don't care if they're gay. I don't care if they're a lesbian. I don't care if they're transgender. I don't care if they're black, white, or purple. I care that you get me out of the dangerous situation that I'm in, or you can do CPR. Do you know CPR? Do you know how to use a hose? Do you know how? I mean, I gave a prime example of a girl who couldn't get the hoses off the rig.
Right.
Let alone
empty.
Would she empty? She wasn't holding the hoses
just hold that. Yeah, like when they're full of water.
When you got like 350 psi
and then
going
the
out of them.
PSI. And
You
then
know,
yeah.
you're gonna have a difficult time.
Stupid bitch.
So
What a fucking embarrassment.
so
Anyway.
you know, do you want somebody that looks like her? I guess in Beverly
Well,
Hills, Hollywood
yeah,
Hills, that's
if
where
you fucking stub your toe and you need somebody to hold your hand while they're splinting it for you, then yeah,
yeah.
she probably does serve a purpose.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, as like merit based,
Yeah, I want
absolutely not.
somebody who can do the job.
Mhm.
And I'm not asking you when you show up to my door what your orientation is
Mhm.
and what your political beliefs are.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to be like, "Excuse me, before you come and put this fire out, could you
Yeah.
like tell me what your who you voted for?"
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I'd like to know who you
Yeah.
voted for before you can enter my home. It's
Well,
on fire, ma'am.
Yeah,
Ma'am,
yeah, but
don't call me ma'am.
yeah, I'm a sir / they.
Don't come into my house and call me names. Like,
You shot to offend me,
man, there are
I'd be
flames behind your
Close
head.
the door behind her, guys. Hold it. No, not really, not. But
No,
I mean, but you like.
that's when That's when he actually has that ability to pick her up and move her out of the way and go.
And go try to save her house.
We'll deal with the ma'ams or
Yeah, it's like
after
later.
I, get
Right.
this fire put out.
Right.
Like, let's go with that first. Okay, let's continue.
To do this, or you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire, which my response is he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Are you kidding me? You know, like I've heard this before, but he got himself.
I know.
So let's play a scenario here. I'm a 80-year-old woman, and my husband is an 82-year-old man, but he's been bedridden for a while. And I called this bitch to come to my house, and you know,
And you better send an 87-year-old firefighter.
with this logic, he ought to be at least in his 80s. But you get to the house and you know, she goes in, maybe not her, but another female firefighter, the one I work, Bubbles, that I worked with. She goes in there and she's like, "Oh, I thought you said he was a feeble old man in a bed." Well, I did. He was also 7'3" and he weighs 300 pounds because he's never stopped eating. You know, or he's 6'2", but he's 400 pounds. Now, granted, in that situation, no firefighter themselves can get that
that's
out.
absolutely
you know.
correct. And that's
that
like
takes a team.
Yeah, I was going to say that's a team effort, and there's some work involved in that. And
Yeah.
there's some tools involved in that. And there's a,
I was
you
at
know,
a call
like,
once. I was at a call once that
wow.
that the guy that was at the house was actually I think he was about 600 pounds or something, and they were hoarders, and there was stuff so much throughout the house that we couldn't even get a gurney through there, even picking it up and carrying it. Like, you could not, and that also needs the oversized gurneys.
Yes.
Which you should call when you call 911 for an emergency. You should tell them, you know, my husband or my wife or whatever is extraordinarily obese, and they can't be on a regular gurney, because they do have oversized gurneys. They also have oversized ambulances for those situations. Honestly, what we ended up having to do is we had to call call a contractor that one of our firefighters knew personally. And he came with a flatbed truck and a forklift, and they had to cut out the wall of the house and take him out on sheets of plywood. And they put a bunch of plywood together to make it strong enough, and they covered it with sheet. I mean, we did everything we could to give him dignity and all of that, but he literally had to be put up. And I mean, in a quick minute. Now, we worked on him in the house, but he had to be transported. So while we were working on him, that contractor dude out there with his whole team from his construction company showed up there with plywood, and they made walls on his flatbed to protect him from the elements and to
falling
allow
off
some of
and-
our equipment to go in there.
Okay.
And to have somewhere for one of our we only allowed one person back there with them. And then we followed right behind. We have a lot more medical equipment.
Right.
And if something needed, we could stop and give it to him. But the whole plan was to get him as quickly to the hospital as possible. Now, we called in advance to the hospital so that they knew we had an extremely obese person that was coming in, and they needed the big oversized bed. The big oversized bed did not even fit this man. They ended up having to they put two of the smaller beds together, and then they wired them together so they would stay together so that this guy could go on there. Nowadays, they have some other equipment for that. But this man hadn't left the house in over 10 years at all.
Poor guy.
And he had a heart attack. He was, it was a cardiac issue. And, I don't know what happened at the end of the day because 90% of the time, the only time I ever did a follow-up is if it was a kid.
Yeah.
Generally speaking. But I generally did not do follow-ups because if they were alive when I left them, in my head, I needed them to stay alive. I didn't want to go back and find out they died because then I feel like I failed or I didn't do something right. So I never really did do a lot. And if you talk to most that work in that field, especially back from when I was, nowadays they might be because maybe they're more woke-ish, I don't know, and they want to know what all the outcomes of all their patients. But I did not care to know what the outcomes of my patients were because I didn't want to have it on my shoulders or on my head, so to speak, that I didn't want to play what I could have, should have done. Did I do everything right? Did I get the IV in quick enough? I didn't want to play that game. So I just didn't do follow-ups. Now, if you ran into them in the hospital and they were still there, you'd be like, oh, wow, you're looking really good.
And half the time they'd be like,
who are you? Yeah.
Like, I'm one of the medics that brought you in.
And you certainly don't go like, oh, you're not dead.
Oh, yeah. Well, look at you. You got some color.
Look at that. I thought for sure you were a goner. But I've also...
Last time I saw you, your lips were blue. They look a lot better with pink.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I was at I wasn't called to this call. It was an accident that was in front of me. And, I have a duty because you're still a medic.
Right. Yes.
So I immediately responded.
Yes.
And it was an older man and he ran into somebody else, but he was having a heart attack is what it turned out to be. And so he got hurt also in the car when he hit the other car.
Okay.
And I didn't have anything. So I used my sweatshirt. Or not my sweatshirt, but my flannel that I had wrapped around my waist. And after the medics got there and they took over, I gave them my name and info if they needed anything. And I got back in my car and I left. And I was like, God damn it, that fucking guy stole my shirt. And my friend was with me and was like, you wanted that back? I'm like, she's like, it's covered in blood. I'm like, it can be washed. It was my favorite flannel. Now I don't have my favorite flannel. And she's like, well, you could probably get it back. I said, yeah, I'm not going to the hospital to go find my flannel. Where's my shirt? I want my $2. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna go and hunt him down for it. But at the same time,
so there was this big, huge, grossly obese man that you all came together and tried to work out a plan to help him and didn't shame him about it and gave him integrity and treated him with decency and respect.
Yeah.
And were you a conservative then?
Yeah.
Oh fuck! Wow, no shit.
I was.
So you practiced inclusion
Yeah.
on your own,
Uh-huh.
and
Uh-huh.
equity because you
Uh-huh.
treated him like an equal human being,
Uh-huh. I didn't be like, yo, fat.
and you diversified
Ow.
your protocol,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and then cooperated and collaborated with others
Mm-hmm.
to help another human. Did you check his pronouns or asked who he
No.
voted for?
No.
That's unbelievable. What kind of fascist fucking racist are you?
I
Failure. You're fucking bigot failure.
I have to go back to training camp for that shit because apparently I'm not very good at it.
You're not.
Hey, do you want to play 911 call?
Okay. Okay.
Let's play 911 call. We are we're gonna play 911 call, and you don't have to actually call me because I forgot to load my phone on here. So we'll just do it. We'll do it. We're gonna do these up later where it actually looks much better than what we're doing right now. But for now, we'll do it the way that we have it. And you'll just have to deal with it. That's all I can say. Okay. Anyway, why is it doing that? And I want it to share on here, not on there. There we go.
So I'll just be the regular caller.
Yeah, well, you can do whatever we talked about. But
we talked about Steve too.
Yeah, I have to tell him what he needs to do because
Okay.
he thinks he's supposed to be calling as a medic. And just to clarify, you're not calling as a medic, you're calling as a individual person. Because he sent me what he was going to call about. I'm like, I don't want you. You're not supposed to tell me what you're going to call about.
You're just a regular dude with a regular life-threatening emergency.
Oh, okay. Okay. Well,
Right? Like,
we'll just go with it. Steve won't be able to call because I don't have my phone hooked up.
oh shoot.
So
no,
unless
no. Okay, that's right. But that's what I'm saying. Like we discussed it with Steve calling. So.
Yeah. So we'll just do it the way you and I had talked about it earlier with you calling, and I'll be 911 and you call into 911. This,
But as which
what we had talked about before.
the woke.
Yeah. That's the phone ringer. That's what I'm going to use for right now. Now, Steve, if you could come down here, that would be great if you're watching. Okay, so here we go. Hello, thank you for calling Woke 911. What is your emergency and what is your pronoun?
Oh my God, you're not gonna believe what happened.
What's your pronoun?
Z they.
Z they, okay. Z they, what happened?
Okay, so what are your pronouns?
I go by they.
That's it?
Yeah, just they.
Oh. Okay, so I was like sitting and these people they walked by and they looked at me.
Ma'am, do you have a
And
problem?
I'm not a ma'am.
I'm sorry.
Z,
do you have an actual emergency?
well, it's my heart is hurting because of feelings. Don't you understand? You're the woke 911.
Well, are you having any palpitations with your heart?
Well,
Like, do you
no,
need
I mean, I
actual
don't
help?
know what that is. I do need help because like my meds are not working.
Okay.
And I took extra and they're really not working.
Okay, I need you to calm down for just a moment.
I can't.
And I want you
No.
to repeat to me. I am a Z-Zer.
I'm a Z-They. Get it
You're a
fucking
Z-They.
right. Why are you trying to hurt me like everybody else?
I want you to calm down enough. Let me see. Hold on one second. Let me see if I have a Z-They available to come. Is that what you would prefer?
I'm just not gonna make it. I'm so unsafe. I need to leave the country.
Do you
I gotta
do you have a preference of who comes to help you?
someone that's exactly like me.
Someone who's exactly like you. I'm sorry, I don't have anybody crazy. me crazy here right now. I can't help you. I'm sorry. You're just gonna have to just suck it up, Buttercup. That's what you're gonna have to do. I'm sorry. I'm
sorry.
I have to go back to training. My
You're not very woke.
I did get a 70% on my woke test. So
Where'd you take that?
at the fire
college?
department.
Oh, at the fire department.
Yeah. For all of the 911 dispatchers, we have to take that, now. So and I only got a 70, but it's okay because 40% is passing.
I was almost valedictorian.
Just about.
But they got a 72.
The whole point of this is how ridiculous it is. And, I really wanted to switch it off that screen from the 911 screen that I had up there to you because your face was was magical. No, your face was magical.
I was like, let's scream like a liberal.
Yeah. I mean, like the ridiculous of it is what is ridiculous.
Well, and that's what's humorous about it, because if you can't or don't laugh at that, it'll drive you nuts, because it is nuts. It's nuts to witness.
Like, I don't know about you or me or anybody, even on the woke side of things, when there is an emergency going on and they actually have an emergency, I think most people would be like, what the fuck do you mean? What's my pronouns?
For sure.
They'd be like, my house is on fire.
Yes.
My house is on fire. Well, do you want a gay man to come fight?
Yeah.
No, I want a firefighter. I don't care who you send. Just send a truck. Send a truck.
Yes.
Send a truck with some water. I don't care who puts the water on the house.
Fucking robots. It doesn't matter.
Just get somebody here. Yeah, I'm not so concerned with having to have a specific gender or affiliation or whatever it is that you want me to explain to you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really care about all of that. I just want you to show up. That's right. That's all I care about.
And be able to do the job that you're supposed to be doing, which is to save property, save lives, and if you're properly trained and you have the merit behind you, then I've never, I still don't and never will. I don't even try to wrap my brain around understanding that kind of stuff, because in my opinion, if you carry that need about you, you've never really truly been in a situation where you needed your life saved.
Right.
I mean, really, because when I was bleeding to death after getting my hands ravaged by a dog, I just wanted the ambulance to show up and get me to the hospital to stop the bleeding. And I may need a transfusion, and I may have lost enough blood that I need, it didn't matter. I don't even know who picked me up and took me to the do you know what? I mean, I know the paramedics came. The minute I laid eyes on them walking through the door, I was I held on long enough till help got there, and then that's
all you care about. Like, you're not
I didn't hold on to oh God, let's see who comes here. Oh, you're Hispanic, you can't. No. Oh God, I bleeded to death. Yeah. Oh God, who else is there?
Yeah.
It's absolutely crazy. I do not know who took me to the hospital that night, except that they were medics.
Well, I know that when I had my major horse accident and I had to be care flighted, I swore up and down, like with every ounce of my being, that it was a yellow helicopter. And my mom's like, no, it was blue. So I guarantee you don't know if that person, what their pronouns were. Mm-hmm. You're not going to remember them. Most of the time, if you're having a medical emergency and if you're having a danger emergency, like a fire or chemicals or whatever, I just want somebody coming there that can adequately do the job. I don't, I'm also not against women. If you're a capable woman, and, I know from doing the job myself, I had to train 10 times harder, and I had to work out in the gym all the time. I constantly would go. As soon as I came to the station, almost every single time, I'd be like, "Who's on shift?" We almost always had the same people, but not always.
Mhm,
Somebody might be
mhm.
on vacation and somebody
Right,
might
right.
be filling in, or you might get somebody new there, whatever. But I almost always went like, "You're the biggest guy right there. Come with me. We're climbing up to the roof, and I'm going to carry you down off the roof."
Mhm.
And I kid you not, those guys would look at me and go like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." But I did learn how to use leverage properly.
Mhm.
I did learn how to balance, how to go down a ladder with a heavy person,
Right.
how to carry somebody bigger than me. Um, and I became quite skilled at it.
Mhm.
I even became certified as a high angle rescue, which means I could, when I got my highest certification for that, and I did that in Arizona because there's a lot of tall rocks in Arizona.
Mhm.
And I would respond to high angle calls, and I mean, like I went to one, and it was cracks me up, but the news reported that seasoned rock climber needed to be rescued. I don't remember how their headline went, but it was something about seasoned or expert. The rock was like, I think the rock is like 400 or 500 feet,
Okay.
and they had like a 200, 300-foot rope. So, like, partway down, he realized he didn't have enough rope to go the rest of the way, and he tied himself off and had his phone, so he called for emergency services. And I'm just going like, I'm thinking to myself, what's wrong with this scene here? I don't think that he should probably have taken a smaller rope than the rock. You need to have more length than that. Now, he could have climbed himself back up, and I did ask why
Yeah.
he didn't go up, and he said he didn't have enough strength to go back up.
Mhm.
Also, if you're an expert or seasoned, why are you there by yourself?
Mhm, for
Why were you
sure.
not?
Like,
Why
that's
didn't you have
yes.
somebody with you? Um, uh, belay, somebody on belay. Anyone? Anyone? Did he tie it to a cactus and call him belay? I don't know. Hey, you're going to be belay for me, okay? So I'm going to tie this rope onto you. Please don't cut it with all your little splines. I would really appreciate that.
It's better
But
than picking a sagebrush.
it could have been a sagebrush too, for all I know. The sagebrush was still buried into the ground, so it's all right because it wouldn't
It's not a
pop out.
tumbleweed yet. It's
Yeah,
still
it's
a,
not
it's
quite a
still a
tumbleweed
bush.
yet. But I mean, when you get down to this inclusion crap, it's bothersome that we have these people saying these ridiculous things when there's no reason for that in the first place. Like, there's literally no reason for it because they can do more harm than good by worrying about what people's ethnicities are, or people's gender are, or what their inclusion is. Worrying about all of that crap when there might be somebody, I don't know, dying, that might be a better thing to be discussing and talking about.
Well, and I'm also thinking too, if this is a serious path that they want to go down, how are they going to make that happen? Like, what are they going to do? And what are they going to decide is the actual criteria? Like,
Are they going to
like
call
what
woke 911? What is your pronouns? How do you identify?
but or like how do you have a whole team of people where you're like, okay, y'all, for this call, we're looking for that would be you, You and you. Okay, get out to the ring. All right, for the next call, we need indigenous gay males. What? I mean, how are we going to break this down, right? Like, or are they going to segregate all the people that are that category?
Well, that's
and
up
give
to
them
me.
their own department for
That's-
fire and EMS.
That's up to the 911 dispatcher. The 911 dispatcher has to dispatch the indigenous station.
But
They have to.
but where's the pool they're pulling
They have to go to. I mean, even a woke station. Let's just say it was a woke station. That means it's just going to be full of a bunch of transgender, a bunch of YMCA in there, and they're like, does he wear the Indian headdress to the call? That's what I want to know. Is he going to actually wear the headdress?
I want the one with chaps. Woo! What? But really, like, because when I hear that, I'm thinking, how are you going to make that happen? How is that even a logical? See, I'm just too logical and too realistic.
Right.
I don't know if you've ever seen the meme, but it's three glasses, and they're all three full, or I mean halfway full with a yellow substance.
Okay.
And over the first one, it says, "I'm half full. I'm an optimist." And the second one says, "I'm half empty. I'm a pessimist." And the third one says, "Well, I'm a fucking realist. This is piss."
Absolutely.
I'm number 3. Like, I'm like, dude, there is no like, this is positive, this is negative. I'm like, this is fucking warm ass piss. What the fuck?
I don't care if it's half full or half empty. It's piss. Like, let's get real about it. And that is the biggest problem. Is we're
logical. You have to be logical about things, and that's not logical.
No, we've lost logic. Okay, I'm gonna play this. I'm gonna play this again and see. Come on, hello.
Into the other issues that the city is experiencing with this entire disaster that is taking place here. But first, you have got to see this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire. Which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
And then it closes out with only about 5% of working firefighters are women. You just made a great case for there being more. What did I just hear? Because this video is only like 25 seconds, I'm going to play it again because I have to make sure that...
Okay, so she's going to play that again. I'm going to turn the volume off for 1 second. Let her play that again. We all
get this in our...
And what I don't get is they thought making this video was a good thing. They thought making this video was, oh wait, there's a little bit more to her video this time. Let's go ahead. We're going to listen to it.
Because this video is only like 25 seconds, I'm going to play it again because I have to make sure that we all get this in our brains, that we all get to experience this together just one more time.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or, you couldn't carry my husband out of a fire. Which my response is, he got himself in the wrong place if I have to carry him out of a fire.
Oh my gosh, so much to go over here. First of all,
he got himself in a bad place. Again, I just reminded you about the guy that's 82 years old in a hospital bed in their house.
Or the quadriplegic that's in a wheelchair.
Or the she just lumped all men, that all men were able-bodied.
Yeah.
And it was his fault for being in a position that I have to carry him out.
Well, and I also want to point out, that's when I like pushed the mic away and I was like, oh my God, it says you want somebody to show up that what is it that you feel safe and that is familiar with your situation?
Here, we'll just play it again.
Who? Okay.
Because I mean, like, let's just break
No,
this
because
down.
I really,
let's
like
let's
this.
break this down because
My response is he got himself in the wrong place.
Of course, a lot of devastation and loss as people of an assistant chief. Her name is Christine Larson of LAFD, and she's talking about emphasizing the fact that she's a woman fire chief and also how she would respond if she could not pull a man out of a fire. We're going to get into the other issues that the city is experiencing with this entire disaster that is taking place here. But first, you have got to see this.
You want to see somebody that responds to your house, your emergency, whether it's a medical call or a fire call, that looks like you. It gives that person a little bit more ease, knowing that somebody might understand their situation better. Is she strong enough to do this? Or you couldn't.
Okay, so
give
yeah,
them
what he said,
ease
give them a little bit more ease
that
and
they could.
help them to understand their situation better. Well, let me say something. Who the fuck understands a burning house more than a burning fireman? I mean, really? Like, how many burning buildings do firefighters go into? And they are the ones who understand. And they are the ones, now they're not going to show up and hold you and hug you and let you cry on their shoulder while your house is burning to the ground. They're going to take care of business
No, they're not going to
first.
go in there and
And
say,
then,
you know, I'm a they too. And, you know, you don't worry about your house burning because we will make sure that your house is still standing. And we'll make sure that all the woke people are the ones that are part of, you know, the fighting of your fire.
mm-hmm,
Nobody cares. Nobody's going to ask if that's what they're gonna do.
mm-hmm.
Nobody says, I don't want you to help me unless nobody does. So this person saying such ridiculous things to me seems like, well, besides the fact that it's virtue signaling
Well,
or
yeah,
whatever
yeah.
else, it seems dangerous. It seems extremely dangerous.
It
So,
is dangerous.
you know, they've already talked about having enough people that that they don't know how to do the job
Mhm,
already,
mhm.
and that there are too many people that have been put in these positions that don't know what they're doing. And I have no idea what just happened because it just keeps saying sinking. So I hope that it's working. I don't know what happened here. Someone is what they are. Nobody is going to ask that question. Nobody's going to question that question.
Mm-mm.
No one is going to say, I hope that that's, you know, my people.
Right,
You know, I
right.
mean, I know this much that I would find it to be extremely. Let me play devil's advocate for a second. Not devil's advocate. I should say, racist advocate. So when the white guy calls and says, only send white people, which take on that with they want to look like them. I mean, should I be allowed? Oh, bigot. That's right. That's right.
That would be a bigot.
Yeah.
That would be an absolute bigot. White, black, Hispanic.
So if I
You're a
say on there, I want a straight white male to respond to my house fire.
Well, it depends
Oh,
if you're a straight white female.
That's true.
and
So
single and
so for
and into firefighters. I mean, I don't know.
so
like,
for
no, but
me
for
now,
real.
I'm a bigot, but I'm also now a transphobe, a homophobe, a racist, bigot. Will they send
But
anyone?
you are.
Will they send anyone? That's what I want to know. Will they send anybody to my house at all at that point? Or would they be like, well, we can't send anyone now?
Well, I mean, bound by law, they have to, I guess, right? Unless you tell them not to.
Well, maybe in California they don't have to. I don't know what
Oh,
California rules are.
yeah, I don't either. I
California
guess
probably has their own rules.
yeah.
If they don't,
you know,
if they
toss
don't-
a coin or flip a coin, see what
if
happens.
they don't fit the woke agenda, we don't have to.
Yeah.
We don't have to.
And that's actually kind of scary. That could be a
Mhm.
possibility
There's
at some point. Because they made sanctuary cities for illegals.
Well,
It's not a far-fetched idea to have sanctuary cities for people
They
who
did in Massachusetts or Connecticut or something. They did that for trans.
did they?
Yeah, for which I don't know. I don't get that whole point, but that's not our topic today. So
Right.
we're just,
Well,
but yeah, I mean, it's a problem that is going to fester and make itself even worse and a bigger problem. California has so many fires every year to begin with. And the last thing I think any resident in California is worried about is whether or not somebody shows up looking like them. They're worried about, is there water in the fire hydrants? They're worried about, why are we not burning off and cleaning up our forests and not leaving kindling? And they're so worried about the animals that live in these trees or whatever. Well, now they don't have any trees.
and animals, because they all burned up, every bit of it. Like, you
got rid
didn't
of
want
all
to
of
do
it.
the little bit to preserve and help save for the future. So
And
now
now-
it's all gone.
And now it's all gone. And you have all, and I wonder for them financially. And let's not talk about the insurance or the federal funding or state funding to help people rebuild. I wonder, honestly, how many of those people will rebuild just to sell, just to get out of there, because their government just showed them they mean nothing. They don't count. And is Gavin Newsom going to turn around and rezone that for multi-housing? Because if he does, then they can't rebuild their single homes. So many of those people were in homes that they've had for 50, 60 years. They weren't fancy new houses. They were big. I mean, some of them were big Hollywood houses. A lot of celebrities lived there, but they were celebrities. Like, that's where, what's his name from Friends lived when he passed away. I wonder if his house survived. But there's so many people there that might have gotten this as their final straw of, I'm out of California, I'm leaving. And guess what? They're going to take their money with them too. So it's definitely something for people to think about. I know we did have a Dear Margaret question. Let me see if I can find it. Well, give your final thoughts on this part of it, and I'll see if I can find my Dear Margaret.
Well, that whole thing is really disturbing to me. And, just over the last few days, I've really been doing some deep thinking about, because my brain being neurospicy, I like to figure things out and why and how. And my mom always told me I would have made
yourself?
Well, yeah, because that's a fun label. I'm neurospicy. But, well, no, I'm actually proud of it in a way, because now I know what the fuck is wrong with me. And it only took 50 years to figure it out. But it's okay, because now it's manageable. But I can't chew on the crumbs that they're throwing out anymore without really saying something about it, because It really has gotten, and even my little social experiment post that I made the other day, I'm actually surprised it went so misunderstood, because I really believed that, most people would go, huh, that's, yeah, okay, I can see that. Maybe not the people that it was meant to like piss off, but there was about 35 people that decided I just wasn't worthy of being their friend anymore. And so they left, which is fine, but all it takes, like, and even in this commercial that we just watched, where it was just a small piece, but they used the right words, and they used the context of a potential scary situation, because now they've ignited so many people's fear, and all they had to do was throw in a few little words of put your mind at ease and have somebody that really truly understands you. Well, do you want them to understand your pronouns and why you came up with those, or why you think you're a boy or a girl, or do you want them to understand how to save your home and your belongings and your pets? And because that should give you ease, that should ease your mind, and that should give you a little more peace, rather than showing up and being like, well, we started a fire in the backyard with leaves once, and I grabbed the hose and I was able to put it out in less than 10 minutes. So I think I can do this for you, because really that's maybe what you might get. Or like you said, like you had a female firefighter show up at the firehouse, and she probably didn't go to 1 minute of fire academy, but yet here she was, official. And who
yeah, I'm pretty sure her fire academy was in the chief's
office.
office.
So
We all said that.
or on the ladder truck, who knows?
Yeah,
Like
the lieutenant nursing pretty close.
But like, so it just takes now, like, and I really think it happens every day. So it's just little pieces being chipped away at people's critical thinking skills, or people's logic or reasoning ability to really take this here and take this here and look at them from all sides and go, yeah, this one just isn't okay. This isn't, this is fine. And it's not about judgment. It's not, it's just, but anyway, I just think that they've been eroding at people and throwing in keywords to get people to all come to the same understanding, or the same agreeing on the same thing, which isn't what everybody should be doing. Everybody should be diverse in their own way, being their own individual person, but to consciously mislead people as a collective, I mean, that's how cults are made. And
Yeah.
And so, I mean, it can be viewed in so many different ways. It could be, viewed as a cult, viewed as a brainwashing, whatever. Because I wrote 3 sentences on Facebook and put a couple hashtags and baited some people in, and it was just that easy. And
Yeah.
so, like, that's all it takes. And someone literally argued with you on that post about me, who's actually sitting here in real life with you. So me as a real live human being.
Right. Like we actually discussed it.
And we discussed it.
No, and I did not ask you what I should write in return.
No,
I didn't say,
no.
what do you want me to write? I wrote it, and then I said, here's what I posted. What do you think? And you're like, that was exactly what I was trying to get at.
Yeah.
And I said, I didn't want to ask you what you meant. I didn't ask you beforehand. I just put what I got from the message, and that you're just invoking thought. Like, on the logic of the left, this is what you would think based on that same logic, because you all believe that our leader is a racist and a this and a that and a this and a that. It's not factual, but you believe it. And therefore, all Trump supporters, all MAGA people, all conservatives are thus the same.
Yes.
And
Yes.
you were invoking that thought process. And I didn't go on and defend you. I didn't even say, hey, I know Kimberly. I didn't say anything. I said, what I think she's trying to say is,
Yeah.
on the logic of the left, you are
This
who
is-
your leader is.
Yes.
And in this particular case, that means your leader is this, therefore you are the same.
Mhm.
And it's just a thought process to realize that one is not the other. I also don't think all gun owners are safe gun owners.
Exactly.
I also don't think
Yes.
all drivers are safe drivers.
Yes.
I also think that all people who buy alcohol are all sober.
Right.
You know, like
Right.
there's a different thing in all people. And
Yes.
I also don't believe, because I had a very severely bad alcoholic best friend who died from drugs and alcohol, I don't also think everyone who buys alcohol is an alcoholic
Mhm.
or drinks alcohol
Mhm.
is an alcoholic. Like,
Mhm.
there are differences within the people, and there are bigots and racists in the conservative community, in the MAGA community. And I will tell you, myself being one of them, and I know you do too, if
Not
I
a bigot
if
and not
I-
a racist. She's not one of those, in case you're wondering.
in
Because
case
you're all,
that was
because
a
me be one
me
of
being
them.
one of them,
No.
as in a MAGA and conservative, when I see somebody post something that's racist, that's okay. But for example, a friend of mine that was in the same group as me posted a picture of her daughter going to prom with an African American student that was asked her to prom, and it was her boyfriend. And she said, my daughter and her boyfriend dressed up for prom.
Mhm.
And there were several racists that jumped in there about how she was a bad parent for letting her daughter date one of them.
Mm.
And that's disgusting, or whatever. Several things. We went after them with virtual pitchforks and you know, fire pokers and
Mhm.
shit. And they were ran out of that group
Mhm.
like in a hot minute.
Mhm.
Now, I happen to have been one of the mods in there, and I don't believe in kicking people out right away. I believe in letting their asshole flag fly as far as they can throw it, so that we can all know how bad you really are. And then ditch you from the community, because most likely everyone that saw that, and I make sure to screenshot enough beforehand so that I have some backup. But then, you know, I saw that his friend list he had like 4,000 friends or whatever. I saw that it went down to like 300. I did see that. This one particular guy, because he started calling the boy an N. He said that the race traitor. So it was very obvious what side he sat on. And we all were on her side and defended and went after him with our virtual pitchforks and torches and everything else. And we ran him off. We ran him out. Now he's probably back under hiding, and he lives in his mother's basement too, because there are conservative. I equally believe there are conservatives that live in their parents' basements doing their bullshit too, probably cashing their parents' Social Security check, and their parent is probably dead.
No, actually, what they're really doing, Tori, they're out stealing catalytic converters.
That too. That too. Straight up. That is true. Okay, let's do our Dear Margaret, so we have time to get through Dear Margaret. And let me see if I can do this. Okay. So this was actually sent to me a couple days ago. It has nothing to do with our talk today, but I thought it was a good one to talk about. So, Dear Margaret, I have a friend who watched your show about chickens, and I explained to her how cool but expensive that would be, and want to how cool that would be and expensive to want to have it. But neither of us could afford it. Chickens. and raise them for her eggs. She wants to have chickens and raise them for her eggs. I am concerned about her finances. She has had to borrow money from me just for rent. How do I explain to her how long it will take to get eggs from the chickens and how much cost will be to put in the chicken coop? How much would it actually cost? Sign, not your piggy bank. So,
Oh my God.
that's a loaded question.
That's a really absolutely loaded question. There's so many pieces.
Well, I
to
mean,
that.
because like in all technicality, going down to like Tractor Supply and buying a couple chickens ain't that expensive.
Right.
You can buy the feed for not super expensive. You could buy a water or a bucket. You can drill a couple holes in it. I mean, you can do it on the cheap, and hopefully your chickens will survive. And hopefully they will survive on the predators, because if you do it on the
Well, that's,
cheap,
I mean, even before that, like, where are you going to keep these chicks?
Well,
Like,
that's
when
what
you
I
get them
mean.
home,
If
like,
you-
they're
if
not
you-
going to sleep in your bed with you because you'll roll over into dead
Right.
nuggets.
You could keep them in a box.
You
know,
could.
there are ways to do it on the cheap.
there are.
But the likelihood of them surviving is
It's
limited.
slim.
And then if you put a really shit coop outside, you could get some chicken wire that somebody's given away on Facebook.
Yeah,
You can get
pallets.
some pallets, and you can build yourself a pallet house or whatever. But then when it comes down to it, and they got to start producing, and you got to really be feeding them and tending to them, it does cost you money.
It does.
And if you put a coop together like that, the high likelihood of having predators just come and eat all your chickens is pretty high.
Very high. Yes.
So
Yes.
doing it right, because you've got to have wire buried down so that they can't dig under. You might need a roof over it of some sort to keep them. Do you have something that they can actually get locked into at night to keep the predators away?
And roost on, because chickens don't stay on the ground. They have to be
they have
up
to be up on the
something.
air.
And like it's a whole.
Is your food open so all the rodents can come and eat it at night? And then you have a rodent infestation. Like, then you could just eat them.
Yeah.
So
use your chickens at bait for your food.
If
you're into possum stew, buddy.
I mean, it's a loaded question in the aspect of, yes, you can do things on the cheap. I've watched quite a few things on how to do it up for the cheap, but you are already setting yourself up for failure from reading that. And obviously going out and buying an expensive coop made by somebody or whatever, well, then the finances isn't your question. Your friendship is, because that means how much are you piggy banking this person?
Yeah, like how
if you're paying her rent on a regular basis, or you're loaning her money for her rent on a regular basis, and she even has the audacity to ask you or talk about this, like, I'm going to do this, and you're sitting there going, with whose money? Are you not saying, hey, I'm not helping you pay for it? Are you saying, hey, you owe me money from last month? So is this a win-win situation or a use situation? You need a friend and she needs money. I don't know what that situation really truly is, but you just have to be blunt with her and send her to watch the rest of this video and say, yeah, you can do anything on the cheap. You can have dogs on the cheap. You can buy the shittiest dog food on the planet and feed them once a day and tie them to a tree outside. But does that make you a piece of shit? Yes. Yes, it does.
I mean, like, see, the way I look at it too, being a chicken owner, there's so many reasons. Like, if eggs are your only reason for getting chickens, you're a fucking retard, because like, and you failed fucking math, because it takes a piece of paper and a pencil to figure that shit out really quick. Because I guarantee you're not eating enough eggs to save any kind of money by having your own chickens. Like, that's just a fact.
You have to have a bigger reason. Like I said, I want the healthy part of it.
Yes.
I want to have something physical that I'm doing and someone I'm taking care of to do it. And those are more my reasons than the eggs. The eggs are the least of my reasons, especially because I got a dealer, so I don't have to worry about the eggs. But you have to take all the factors into account, and if you can't pay your rent now, then you're probably just not buying the eggs at the store. So maybe stick with that. And I did learn something the other day, that if you buy the eggs in the carton, and it doesn't have to be egg whites, they have eggs, like liquid eggs for, you can really only make scrambled out of them. I just want to clarify that with the people.
That's it.
You're not going to make basted eggs or over easy
or sunny side up. No,
you're going to have scrambled only.
Yeah.
But the cartons of eggs are way cheaper than just eggs.
Are they
right now? Which kind of defies their whole logic on the bird flu thing, because where did them fucking eggs come from? You gotta wonder, like, okay, so it takes this many eggs to make that carton. Where did those eggs come from? Because those have always been traditionally way more money.
Yes, always.
Because
of the fact that they're specialized.
You don't have to crack them. You don't have to mix them.
You just pour in the pan, cook them up, and go. So they've always been more expensive.
Always, and now they're actually cheaper. So it goes to tell me that
they are eggs. So you're right. Like, what are they, like, fucking raised in a lab? Maybe they're lab created eggs. Maybe they are. We just don't know. Plant based. Who knows?
Yeah,
they're not in a shell, so there's no way to tell.
Yeah, there's no way to tell.
Oh, I'm a poet.
And you didn't even know it. Well, anyway, that is our show for the day. Thank you guys for being here. We appreciate it. We will work on getting our woke 911 calls.
We'll do that. I'm sorry. I just was laughing so hard I couldn't.
It was hard. It was hard to do those.
But it'll get more serious but funnier.
We'll get better at these things. And if you guys like our comedy when we're doing stuff like that, just let us know. We hope that you do.
Yeah.
Because
I'm not a pro and I don't expect to get paid. But
see, there's my lights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that way when you get pulled over, I can just we can use the show lights for that.
Yeah.
But
that's perfect.
That is our show for the day, and we appreciate you being here. We want to welcome any new people, and please send us your email, comments, questions for Dear Margaret to dearmarge, MARG @girltalks.com, and that's GURLTAUX. And we'll see you tomorrow because we're going to talk about it. Don't forget to like, subscribe, follow, and share with your friends so that they can come and watch us too. And we will be back tomorrow. And a disclaimer for anyone out there that is or gets offended by our funny little skits or whatever, we don't care. Don't really care, Margaret.
Yeah, I really don't care, Margaret. Go fuck yourself.
I really don't care, Margaret. We are who we are, and we're going to play what we want to play and do what we want to do. And we're not monetized right now, so until we do,
we're doing this out of the kindness of our cold, black, bigoted fucking hearts. Okay, so y'all have a great...
Thank you for watching Girl Talks live broadcast, which airs weekdays at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. Don't forget to send in your Dear Margaret questions. Then join us for our opinion-based answers. We love having you. Thanks for taking the time